All right, if we take a look at the warm-up, we have a polygon here. First thing we need to know is what type of polygon it is. So if we look at the fact that we have two pairs of parallel sides and the other two are not, we know that we are looking at a trapezoid. And so if you look back at your notes or look at one of your formula sheets, we know the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 height times base 1 plus base 2. Okay? So if you look at what you have here, the height is actually labeled with an H. But remember, we know that that's the height because it has a right angle on it. And remember that the height is always connected to the two bases. So our base 1 and base 2 are the top and bottom in this case because it is sitting upright. So when we go ahead and substitute in, if you look at what we've got here, we're trying to find the area. We don't know the height, but we do know base 1 and base 2 are 6 and 8. So we can simplify what we have. Remember, following your order of operations, first parentheses, then we can go on to any multiplication or division, and then addition and subtraction. So 1/2 of 14 is 7, and we've got times the height. Okay, next step is we have to find that missing piece. So if you look at the picture, we have a right triangle here. I'm going to pull that off to the side. We know we want to find the height. We know that the hypotenuse, or C, is 3 feet. And one of the legs is 2 feet. Remember, A and B don't make a difference which you use as which, but the way we would find that missing side is Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we plug in 2 squared plus H squared equals 3 squared. And we simplify. 4 plus H squared equals 9. We subtract 4 from both sides. And then we get H squared equals 5. The only thing we still have to do is take the square root of H. So that we have H equals the square root of 5. Remember, I can't round until I get my answer. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it in to find the area. So 7 radical 5. And at this point, it didn't say where to round to, so I can absolutely leave it just like that. Or I can type that into my calculator, 7 second x squared 5. And I get approximately 5.7. I'm sorry, 15.7. If you have any questions on where that came from, please pause your video and call Ms. Williamson or myself over to give you a hand. Today we're going to be talking about the lateral area and surface area of prisms. So over here on the top right corner, you can see some pictures of prisms. Okay, we have to know what lateral area and surface area are in order to complete this. So surface area is the sum of the areas of all the faces of a prism. When I say
Good
all
afternoon,
of the faces,
all the high school students, faculty, and
sorry about that sweep announcement. As I was saying, when I say all of the faces, I'm talking about the sides and the bases. We have this formula for a surface area, which I'm going to abbreviate SA. It's perimeter times height plus area 1 plus area 2. Now, surface area will give us something in units squared, just like all area has done. So let's just put on the side what each of those things mean. P is the perimeter of the base. H is the height of the whole prism. Area 1 and area 2 will be equal for all of our prisms, and they're the area of the bases. Okay. Lateral area is very similar to surface area, except for it's just the sum of the areas of the sides. No bases here. Okay, so if you think about the word lateral, think about it like equilateral. Remember what that meant? That meant we have equal sides. And so the lateral is talking about the sides. And so because we want to get rid of the bases, we're going to get rid of area 1 and area 2 from the surface area formula, and it will be almost exactly the same thing, except for it's just perimeter times height. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to practice applying these formulas. So what we're going to do, I think the easiest thing is to start by finding all the things you need for your formulas. So for the first one, I'm going to look at the base. The base can be the top or the bottom, remember? So I've got 3 inches front, 2 inches on the side, and because it's a rectangle, or a rectangular prism, I know that the front and the back and the left and the right measure the same thing. So when I want to find the perimeter, I'm going to add 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, all the sides of that base, and I get 10 inches. That symbol, remember, means inches. The height is drawn on here already, 4.5, so I'm going to put that as 4.5. It's easier to do in my calculator. And remember, area 1 is going to be equal to area 2. And those are going to be found by the area of the base. And so, because it's a rectangle, I'm going to be doing length times width. And so the areas are both 6 inches squared. Okay, so I'm going to start with lateral area because it's a shorter formula. Lateral area is perimeter times height. I already have all those pieces up above, and I just have to plug them in. 10 inches times 4.5 inches. So 10 times 4.5 is 45. Inches times inches gives me inches squared. Because it's an area, it's always units squared. By doing lateral area first, my surface area becomes a lot easier because remember, lateral area is part of the surface area plus the area of the 2 bases. So I already know P times H is 45 inches squared. I know both of the areas are 6 inches squared. And now I just have to add those up. So I do 45 plus 6, and I get 57 inches squared. Those are my lateral area and surface area. Okay. For the next one, we have a triangular prism. Okay, and so with the triangular prism, my base is a triangle, hence the name triangular prism. So I'm going to start it out the same way, but remember, if this is 6 3/4, I'd like it as 6.75, and I'm going to write it up here as well. If that's 12, this is 12, and the 9's already labeled. So the reason why I'm doing that is when I go to find my perimeter and I add 9 plus 6.75 plus 12, I get a perimeter of 27.75 inches. Okay, the height is labeled for us. That's 15 inches. And remember, area 1 will equal area 2. And in this case, it's a triangle. Remember, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height because a triangle is half of a parallelogram. And so I'm going to do 1/2 times 12 times 5. The base is 12 because remember, the base is always connected to the height. And I know the height is 5 because it has a right angle. The height is always perpendicular to the base. And so when I multiply that out, 1/2 times 12 times 5, I will get 30 inches squared. Okay. At this point, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is please go ahead and plug into both formulas and find the lateral area and surface area. So pause the video and work on that. When you're finished, check with Ms. Williamson or myself, and we will let you know if you're correct, and you should move on from there. Okay? You're also then going to try the one on the bottom. Once you have shown Ms. Williamson or myself that you have both of those correct, you can then move on to the next page. Okay, with this next page, we're going to ask you again to try to do this whole page on your own. So you're going to find lateral area and surface area. Remember, a good idea first for each of them is to find the perimeter, the height, and area 1 and area 2. Okay, once you have those, it makes plugging into your formula a lot easier. Again, once you can show one of us that you have done these correctly, we will mark it down for you and you can start your homework for tonight. If you have any questions at any point, please pause the video and ask.